video. It's in the water now. We have a submarine. Guess what? Cars don't drive in the water. So, some do. There are some amphibious cars. You know what I should do? I should just leave it there. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Hello YouTube, Richard Jeffries here with another Minetest sort of video. This is going to be a sort of tutorial. There was a question in one of the comments about installing a mod, and the person uses Windows. Now, I use Mac and Linux. I do have a Windows partition. So, to get this all to work properly, I've had to go into like a remote desktop. But first, let's see where we can... Oh, it's right there on the screen. We're going to go to minetest.net, and we're going to look at the downloads. So, I'm not sure how the person is using Windows. I have two Minetest downloads on my Windows machine, and I'm using the portable version 32-bit, and then there was another version, but it's the 4.13 version. So I can outline both of those. So there's also on this page packages for FreeBSD, Android, Linux. I'm also using the Ubuntu Linux, which oddly enough, about 20 minutes before this video, my Ubuntu drive just started making clicking noises and then doesn't work anymore. So, and Linux, out of all three, Mac is the easiest, Linux is the hardest, Windows is right in between. So depending on, you download your file. I've already done that. So we're going to remote desktop into my Windows machine here. And on my desktop, I don't know what I just did. On my desktop, I have the 32-bit version of Minetest in a folder. And you'll see a bunch of directories. Now, again, I'm not sure how this person installed it. I also have it in my start menu, but that one is sitting in my user directory. I'll show that in a second. So the application starts up in the bin directory, but where you put the mods are going to be in the mods directory. The one thing about downloading mods from Minetest is that most of the time, the mods will come, it'll say, like this one here, Cars Tech Master. So after you decrypt the folder, because the folders are usually zipped, you have to change the name. So originally, let's see, do I have one open here? No, I want to continue. Currently sharing a machine with another. Yes, I know. That's me. Why is it asking me? Okay. So here's the vehicle. I have vehicles folder, master.zip, cars master.zip. So I'm going to go in and I use 7-zip. And you're going to have to forgive the fan noise because the Windows computer right now is just going nuts. 7-zip, extract files here. This is what I usually do. I use my my desktop as a landing space for everything, and then I go back in and clean it up. So it should have put it somewhere. And still waiting. And waiting. put it, but we're going to try it again. Extract files here. And it says it's already here. Today, you guys get to see just failure upon failure. I think I'm joking about this stuff. I don't know. Oh, they put it right here. So you can better see it, because I'm not sure how the screen is going to look. The mod here, I'm going to get rid of this one because I already did it. Yeah. It says cars. It says cars/master. So you go in here, and most of the mods, you're going to have to do this too. You're going to have to rename them. So we're going to rename that. We're going to let me grab my keyboard. We're going to rename that as cars. And that's it. Inside that folder is where all the files for the mod are. The models, textures, what it depends on. Usually you can go into the README and get information. That's the code for the mod running it. So we go back in here. These mods are in here. So if I go back to my Minetest directory, to bin, this is going to be painful, folks. Minetest.exe. This is literally going to be. Now, what I use my Windows partition for is I'm a database administrator. So I'm not a huge Windows user. However, Windows does make some, Microsoft does make some very, very good products. SQL Server, I enjoy using. I'm a big fan of Excel. Even Microsoft Access in its own way is an extremely good program. So there are Windows programs that I cannot get away from, especially during my day job. But as my preferred desktop at home, it's Mac and Linux. So you go in, you have your world, you go in here, you hit configure, and you'll see that these are the mods that I just added, cars and vehicles. Now, we're going to enable them all, save, and see if we can play. It's going to error. There's a problem with, I tried for a long time last night to get the cars mod to run. And it's something, what I've narrowed it down to is that it is something to do with the way Windows 10 accesses the built-in video card. So you can see all the errors coming up, invalid. So there's the car, and it says it could not bind the texture. And I can't find, I have a question in on the forum on how to make that work. However, the video that the person was asking the question on was my video for the vehicles mod. So there's a difference there. There's two mods. Now the car mod is almost identical to the Windows mod. So you become the car in this car mod if it would put the car down. But you see, it won't, because it's erroring out. So we're going to go into the inventory, and I warned you, this is very slow. We're going to search for. I have no mods on this this version of Minetest. Now I'm going to put a Ferrari. No, oh, thank you. Go back in here. Gonna switch to it. Oh my. And if you like this video and you are a Linux and computer distributor, please consider sponsoring me. I need a new computer. I wish I was joking. My daughter is using my 8-year-old MacBook Mac Mini, which still runs. It's stuck on Lion. But it still runs, and I have a 10-year-old MacBook and a 2-year-old MacBook Air and an 8-year-old Linux box where the drives are failing. So the difference between, oh, come on. There we go. Now we're facing the right way. The difference between the two mods are very little. The cars mod, you become the car and you start driving around. From what I've seen of that mod, it's okay. The vehicles mod is what you really want, because you left click on it, and I'm going to show a better one on the Mac. And we're going to drive, hit W, and we'll drive. You can't hear the engine noise right now, but I'm driving. Yay me. And I'm spinning and crashing, and we're going to jump out of the car while it's moving. And I think the car kept going. Yep, the car kept going. You're going to have a lot more fun in the vehicles mod rather than the cars mod. That's my opinion. Somebody who really likes the other one. So Minetest lays out its files. So I have the Minetest. This is the portable version too. So we have the Minetest. The bin directory is where the Minetest.exe is. You have your doc files or directory for doc. All these other ones pertain to like the client settings and everything else. The mods is where the mods go. And there's a little text file in there that says so. So now if we go into my documents, and for whatever reason, I don't remember installing Minetest on this computer, but there's Minetest right there. This is the 4.13 version, and this is the version that's in my start menu. And it's the same thing. So yesterday I tried loading the mods into there. So what we're going to do is we're going to look over at the Mac now. I'm going to take over, get rid of Chrome, and we're going to bring up, I'll stay in this desktop. How's this for professionalism? Actually, I probably could do an Ubuntu, a Linux. So on Mac, you have to do things a little bit differently. On Mac computers, how they started doing it in the later versions, I'm running Sierra on this one. I believe it was like all the way back to Lion is when they stopped letting regular people look at their directories. So there is a command that you have to look for. If you notice, there's a whole bunch of directories here that are grayed out. And those directories are what Apple feels that the user should not see. Because if you can't see it, you can't delete it. So there is a command. I use a tool called, where is it at? Tinker Tool on my Mac. And what that does is it's actually a GUI program where you can go in there and say unhide files, unhide hidden files. And I'm going to turn off screen sharing. So what that does is when you go in there, it'll list them like this, and you can always reverse it. There's a way of doing it just in the terminal. I kind of don't like, I'm not a huge terminal user, but in my user directory on Mac, there's a one called library. And then in library, there's application support. And then way down the list is Minetest. So in the Minetest version for Mac, make this a little bit bigger. We have the client files, the com files, and here's the mods. So these are all the mods I'm running with the newly mentioned Vanessa E's Dream Builder mod pack. Man, that's a lot of mods. There's like 67 in here, plus these that I'm running. And I figured out which one was the offending mod in my little problem yesterday with the moss. And that is, it starts with a G, but I'm going to maliciously rip it out. It's called the goop blocks. Oh man, I hate that mod. No offense to the programmer. In the normal circumstances, it's a very good mod because it adds moss and everything to blocks that's around water. So for dungeons and caverns and the cave realms and stuff like that, it would be very useful. But not in my pristine Minetest world is it useful. So this is where on Mac where they store the mods. And the same thing with Windows. You notice it says new _ fireworks because you can't have a dash. And a dash, it'll actually complain and say it's an unrecognized character. It does for me on Mac. So here's all my worlds and my new world 1, which is always backup. Here's a good thing for Minetest players that some Minetest players may not know. When you get done playing with Minetest, and I'm sure this would also apply to Minecraft and any other game, this worlds folder, this is my messed up world now, and this is my world that I unzipped from a backup and was able to continue on. Always whenever you're done, always make a backup of your folder. I actually go and back up and compress the Minetest folder and put it in a nice little thing over here called Minetest zip. I have 2 backups. One's for my server and one's for my desktop. And it cuts down on the amount of crying over broken Minetest blocks. So this is where, now this accidentally just got thrown in there, but these are my different world files and everything that I use for Minetest. So on Mac, it is the user directory library. I think I have a, here we go. So it's users, who you are, whoever your directory is, library, which is a hidden directory, application support, which is a hidden directory, Minetest, world. And that's basically how you do it on Mac. For Linux, it's more involved because on Linux, you can actually install the application to your user's home directory, or there's a PPA, which is a personal archive with the developer, and it will put it into the worlds are in the user directory, and the actual game and mods are, I believe it's user share. It's a couple directories deep, but the problem is you need sudo access, super user do access to copy files or to do anything in those directories. So you have to be comfortable doing that. And unfortunately at this time, like I said, my Linux computer literally died 10 minutes before making this video. Yeah, it's not fun. So let's see, what else do I want to show real quickly? So the vehicle mods, let's see how fast it would do to kick it up here. I can never find this program. Oh, so how's everybody doing out there today? Oh, there's a new version of VirtualBox. Yes, I know you're crying about something. I don't know what it's crying about a disk that I had on here. This is a program for anybody that doesn't know. Most people do. You have VirtualBox. It's virtual desktop software. And I use it to test out distributions or to actually have a working Linux backup on my Mac. Oh, looky there. My 10-year-old MacBook, because the last operating system that it was allowed to get was Lion. It actually runs Ubuntu. However, the hard drive on that hand grenaded itself. And after 10 years, so I have a new hard drive I have to put into it because I'm not giving up that machine. And I can't even type my password. Okay. I'm not sure if I have anything installed on here. That's pretty. Look at that. It usually doesn't do that. Okie dokie. Let's see what we got. Nope. I don't have anything in there. Sorry, nothing matches your file. So let's go here. Let's see how fast we can actually do this. So and this is real. I mean, this is just a real basic overview of what it takes to install programs. All right, so I'm running Ubuntu Linux. So we go down to Ubuntu Mint PPA. And see, now this is where for Linux users that are comfortable with this, that's fine. What is load disk space? Yes, I know. I didn't give it a lot of disk space when I set up this virtual disk. So what we're going to do, oh, I wish Windows and Mac had this fun thing, always on top, where you can keep, there are third-party programs on Windows that I've tried, but they just don't work. They're not reliable, the ones that I've used for it. Here is the stable release. Here, stable releases can be found. It would help if I could read. So what we need to do is we need to add this directory. Yep. I need to copy that in there. And it didn't take. Come on. People are watching. That's not what I wanted. Ooh. Apparently I hit a key that VMware did not like. Okay. Oh. It does help if you hit the proper keyboard. So we're going to add that. And it's going to come up with something. It's going to say, can be found. Do you want to add this? And I said yes. What this is doing is it's actually updating the software sources. So that means that whenever there is an update to the app in the PPA, it will look out for that PPA to see if there's an updated app from the developer. The only problem with using PPAs is that when you go to this distribution is Ubuntu 16.10, and what'll happen is it will when you go to do a distribution upgrade, these PPAs will kind of hose up the system a little bit. Okay, so we're done in here. Sudo apt get install Minetest. And something's locked up on the directory. Why? There's another process running. Shouldn't be. Let's see what's no. Oh, It may be running, it may be trying to run an update because I haven't updated this computer in so long. This distribution. Wow, I'm pegging the CPUs. Come on. Okay, that's weird behavior. Let's try this again. You know, I should have did this ahead of time. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go in here and we're going to restart. The great thing about computers is you don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do. As the computer crashes in a fiery ball of flames. Oh, I'm running 1604 long-term support on this one. Show me what I want. So let's see if I can get in there fast before it starts running that. Yes, I did it. Yes, I do. So now what it's doing is it's downloading Minetest. And it'll be done. It's not a very big program. And it'll install it. And it will put a icon in the menu, hopefully. In Linux, I love Linux. However, Linux is not as consistent as Mac and Windows. When you add a program in Windows, install a program, it's going to be in the start menu. And on Mac, it's going to show up in your applications folder or on mission control. So Linux, on the other hand, sometimes you have to do a little bit more work to get the program to show up. All right, it says it's done. So we're going to go in here and we're going to look at that. Look at that. It's in there. Let's boot up Minetest and see what happens. Look at that. Fresh. Enable damage. Creative mode. Okay, so let's new world. We're going to call it new and create. Configure. These are the mods that are in there. Obviously, they're all enabled. And play. We're only going to look how fast that loads. That's cool. It doesn't like my mouse. Oh, that's beautiful. That really is. Look at those trees, the jungle trees and that. Okay, so we know it works. We're going to exit out. And we're going to close it. Now we're going to go in and actually see where it is. So on Linux, we have this up here called Show Hidden Files. And here's a folder called .minetest. And this is where the worlds are going to be. This is the world that I just created, the new world. So these are in here. However, the mods are not in here. The mods actually, you have to go to computer user. I'm doing this off the top of my head. And let's just take a quick look. I bet you I'm in the wrong directory. Yeah, this is the wrong directory. I didn't think it was going to be that easy. Is it var? No, that was right. It was user. It's not in games. They didn't put it in here. I wish they would have. Share. User share. You know, I could have done a search too. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. HIL. Look at that. We found it. So it's in user share, computer user share. And this is where, this is where all the files are. So games, you have the minimal development game, and these are the two at the bottom of the screen where you can choose from the Minetest game and the developer one. And then in here is your mods. So when you want to download a mod here, we're going to do it real quick. So notice how all those mods, so let's do, since we, do customize. This mod is right off the home page. You know what? We're going to see if these work in here, if it's just a Windows thing. So we're going to do cars. You go into here. We're going to download the zip file. Okay, and then we are going to go into vehicles. I really do like that vehicles mod. And we're going to download. See how it's called master zip? Wait for it to show all downloads. Should be in my downloads. Oh boy. Let's get rid of all these windows. Oh no, what happened? Ooh, I didn't want to do that. What did oh, I know what I did. That was kind of scary. So you have to come in here and extract here. Well, my Windows computer right now is making some deathly gasp noises. Okay, so here's our folder. We're going to rename this one to vehicles and this one to cars. And then it's not going to let me do it. I hate command line. I really do. So to move anything in, let's see, user share Minetest games. So user share. So what I did is I opened up a Nautilus window, which is a file finder window in root mode or super user mode. And I'm going to go in here and here's our games, Minetest game, mods. So I'm going to move that over. If it'll let me, I'm going to come into here and I'm going to copy these two folders that I renamed. Paste. There's cars, and the vehicle. There's a vehicles mod. So we're going to go back in here and go back into Minetest. And then we are going to select the world, configure, enable all, save, play. Because this is, I've been rambling on too long. You know, it would help if I had actually a script and everything, but everything just died. And this is going to give me a hassle with the mouse. But it does not like the Mac trackpad. See if it'll loop around. Oop. Oh, please. I can't get it to a, there we go. Almost. I don't know why it doesn't. It doesn't want to do the vehicle mod or the cars mod in anything. So I think there's something broken with, yeah, it won't. But let's move to number 2, which is the so for the person that was asking me the question to do the tutorial on the cars mod, I would use the vehicle mod because I believe that that's going to give you better. See, I can't even do it with the mouse, but it spawned it in there. So we're going to. I have to figure out the mouse on there. Look at that. Close this terminal. And this version of Ubuntu, I really do love. I've used Linux distributions for many, many years, and I always come back to Ubuntu. So what we're going to do here is that, yeah, it's there. Play. Should just go right into it. I have to shut down this Windows computer because the noise that's coming off of it it's actually quite scary. So I'm afraid of my computer. I hope this has been educational. It's not actually the way that I wanted to do an educational tutorial, but until I can do a more proper one video, this will do for right now. Look at that. So what I have no idea where I am. We have to round the corner. Oh, it just when I tried removing the blocks that had the moss on them, it just killed everything. Look at that. I had to redo the house because this is my backup world. We have a sign, storeroom, but that's not why we're here. We're here to spawn in a car. And just so and nobody can say, well, you know, the Minetest was real slow on that computer that you were using. I was using VirtualBox. I was using an Ubuntu distribution inside of VirtualBox, severely crippled. Therefore, the performance on it's not on the computer for performance. It's on there so I can test things. or look things up. That's basically all that gets used for. Like I said, the Windows computer, which right now the fans just took off like a jet airplane, that computer is severely dying quick. So here on the vehicles, you're going to have a lot better time in the vehicles mod, because you should hear the engine start. We're going to wait for the bunny to cross so we don't run over the bunny. So we're going to go this way so we don't hit the bunny. See, and it acts just like the demonstrations that I've seen. Oh, I just hit a tree. Whee! These roads. Oh no. I'm in a tree. It keeps doing over. Oh, this is the end of this video. It's in the water now. We have a submarine. Guess what? Cars don't drive in the water. So, some do. There are some amphibious cars. You know what I should do? I should just leave it there. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. You know, you hear stories about quarries and lakes that have cars in them. Guess what? This one has a car in it. Yeah. Real quickly before I end this wonderful little video tutorial, look at that. Look how nice that looks now. So there was one good thing about all the failures. I redid some of the houses just so I could have a mossless pool area. Like it's all back to normal. All right. So on that note, again, I'm sorry about the poor sound quality and everything else. My Windows computer, literally the two disks that are in it, at least the Windows side kicked off. So to recap on everything, on Windows, you could have Minetest installed portably, or in the users directory, you'll find Minetest in there, and then you'll find the structure on the layout. Another good resource is the actual Minetest.net website. There's a wiki page on there which outlines the directory structure for Windows, and I believe it's in there for Linux. So when you download mods, most of the time you're going to have to rename them, and it'll even tell you that in the README file in the mod when you download the mod, or wherever you download the mods from. They'll say you have to rename this file. After that, you have to go into your world and you have to configure that mod. So you saw how I went in there on my selected world, pulled it up, configured it to run, and it loaded. In 3 different computers, I could not get that cars mod to run. It's not a great loss because the vehicles mod gives you many, many more cars and more options. There's actually airplanes and helicopters, a hoverboat, speedboat in the vehicles mod. So I truly believe that you're going to be more happier with the vehicles mod over the cars mod. And that's not saying that the cars mod is bad. It just appears to be broken. For what the cars mod does, it looks like it should do it very well. I've seen other videos of people using that mod, and it does the same thing as the vehicles mod. So that's how you do that. I do have a question in on the forums over at Minetest, see if anybody else is having a problem with the cars mod to get it to run, or what that generic on the Windows computer gave that generic error that it couldn't bind the textures. And the only thing I can find so far is Windows 10 and how it enacts. And I have the same video card as the person in the forum was using. So you've seen it on all 3 operating systems. The Minetest forums are a great place to find information on that. You can go to that person's mod and actually ask a question in there and go from there. So hopefully this has answered your question, and this has shown everybody else it is pretty easy to install Minetest. You have to do a little bit of footwork, but anything, Minecraft, for installing mods, you have to do the same thing, I believe. There are helper files in Windows that will install mods for you, but I've never seen those files. I've just heard about them. I will try to research that and go from there. So until the next video in hopefully about a half hour, thanks for watching, and everybody have a great day. Bye.